Unlike the previous season, where most games were either played behind closed doors or with a reduced spectator capacity, with the loosening of restrictions across Canada and the United States due to COVID-19 vaccination progress, the NHL anticipated that every team would be able to have capacity crowds, if not near capacity, at the start of the 2021-22 season. Some teams, including all Canadian teams, are requiring attendees to present proof of vaccination in order to enter. In December 2021, all Canadian NHL teams began to reintroduce capacity restrictions due to concerns over the local spread of the highly infectious Omicron variant. By December 21, all Canadian NHL teams besides Montreal had been restricted to 50% capacity per provincial public health orders, with Alberta and Ontario also restricting the consumption of food and drink in order to enforce face mask mandates. One initial exception was the Montreal Canadiens, after requesting that the Canadiens' December 16 home game be played behind closed doors. The Quebec provincial government formally prohibited spectators at all professional sporting events effective December 20. On December 27, the Manitoba government restricted all public gatherings to a maximum of 250 people, including sporting events. The Jets therefore announced that all home games will be played behind closed doors until further notice. On December 28, the NHL announced that 9 games in Canada, 4 in Montreal, 2 in Winnipeg, 1 each in Calgary, Ottawa and Toronto, would be postponed as a result of attendance restrictions in these cities. Effective December 31, 2021, large venues in Ontario were also restricted to a maximum of 1,000 spectators. MLSE announced that all Maple Leafs home games will be played behind closed doors until further notice. At this time, the NHL began to postpone some Canadian home games, specifically citing attendance restrictions as reasoning. On January 3, 2022, the Ontario government rolled back the province to modified Stage 2 restrictions, which effectively mandated that sporting events be held behind closed doors. Although the province began to lift some of these restrictions beginning January 31, large venues remain capped at a maximum of 500 spectators. The Ottawa Senators began to readmit spectators within this limitation. On February 8, 2022, Alberta ended the restrictions exemption program, which required non-essential venues to mandate proof of vaccination or a negative test in order to operate at the maximum allowed capacity, then 50% in large venues, and expected to be increased back to 100% later in the month. This means that proof of vaccination is no longer required to attend Flames or Oilers games. Alberta also began to allow concessions to be consumed in seats. Manitoba also allowed sporting events to return to 50% capacity. On February 15 and 16, the Manitoba and British Columbia governments lifted restrictions on venue capacity, although their respective proof of vaccine